The first time I wore a dress, I was 6 years old. It wasn't planned, and it wasn't some grand revelation. It was just curiosity. My cousin Emily, a year older than me, had left her favorite princess dress in my room during a sleepover. The shimmering pink fabric, speckled with little stars, seemed to glow in the dim light of my small bedroom. It practically called my name. I remember glancing at my bedroom door, heart pounding, before slipping the dress over my head. It didn't fit quite right, tight across the shoulders and too short to reach my knees, but none of that mattered. As I stood in front of my mirror, I saw something unexpected. A smile. I didn't know why it felt so right, but it did. I twirled, the fabric brushing against my legs, and for a brief moment, I felt like I had stepped into another world, one where nothing mattered but the girls staring back at me. Of course, that world shattered when my mom walked in. "What on earth are you doing?" she gasped, her voice sharp and disapproving. I froze, panic surging through me like a tidal wave. My cheeks burned as I tried to explain it away as a silly joke, but the damage was done. She didn't yell, but the look on her face, confused, concerned, maybe even a little disgusted, was enough. That night, the dress disappeared. So did the smile. As prom night came to a close, Sarah and I sat on the hood of her car, gazing up at the stars. The distant sound of laughter and music floated through the air, but it felt like we were in our own little bubble, far removed from the rest of the world. "I've never seen you like this," Sarah said, her voice soft but filled with warmth. "So happy, so alive." I didn't respond immediately, afraid my voice might betray the flood of emotions surging within me. Instead, I nodded, blinking back tears. "Do you think it's wrong?" I finally whispered.
"What?"
"Being yourself." She turned to me, her gaze steady. "Absolutely not. What's wrong is hiding who you are. You deserve to be happy, even if it takes the world a little time to catch up." Her words stayed with me long after I had changed out of the dress and wiped away the makeup. They replayed in my mind during the quiet moments, like a song I couldn't forget. For the first time, I began to think that maybe, just maybe, I could live my truth. The summer after graduation was a whirlwind. While most of my classmates were busy planning their futures, college, jobs, gap years, I was trying to figure out how to exist as the person I wanted to be. The safe cocoon of high school was gone, and the real world loomed ahead, vast and unforgiving. Sarah became my anchor. She was the first person I confided in completely, sharing not just my feelings about dressing up, but the deeper truth that I had buried for so long. I didn't feel like a boy. "I think I'm a girl," I admitted one night, the words tumbling out like a confession. Sarah didn't flinch. She didn't ask questions or try to analyze it. She just smiled and said, "Then you're a girl." Simple as that. It wasn't simple, though. Not really. But her acceptance gave me the courage to start exploring what it meant. I began experimenting more openly, testing the waters of my identity in small, deliberate steps. A pair of earrings here, a touch of mascara there. Sometimes I felt brave enough to wear a skirt to the coffee shop in the next town over, where no one knew me. Other times, I chickened out, retreating to the safety of my old jeans and hoodie. The first time someone called me miss was in that very coffee shop. It was a barista, a college-age guy with a friendly smile. "Here's your latte, miss," he said, sliding the cup across the counter. I froze, unsure if he was being genuine or mocking me. But when I saw no malice in his eyes, just casual politeness, a warmth spread through me that I couldn't describe. "Thank you," I managed to say, my voice trembling. I floated out of the shop that day, my confidence buoyed by a single word. Coming out to my parents was a different story. I waited until the end of summer, dreading the conversation, but knowing it was inevitable. My parents were traditional, the kind of people who believed in clear-cut roles and expectations. I had no idea how they would react, but I knew I couldn't keep pretending. One evening after dinner, I asked them to sit down. My heart felt like it might beat out of my chest as I stumbled through my prepared speech. "I've been struggling with something for a long time," I began. "And I need you to know the real me. I don't feel like your son. I feel like your daughter." The room went silent. My dad's face was unreadable, a mix of confusion and something else I couldn't place. My mom's eyes filled with tears, but she didn't say anything. Finally, my dad spoke. "Is this some kind of phase?" "No," I said, my voice firmer than I expected. "This is who I am." The conversation was long and painful. They asked questions I wasn't always ready to answer, made comments that stung, and wrestled with their own discomfort. By the end of the night, I was emotionally drained, unsure if I had made things better or worse. The weeks that followed were a roller coaster. My mom tried to understand, but her attempts often came across as awkward or dismissive. My dad avoided the topic entirely, retreating into silence. I felt like a stranger in my own home, but I refused to go back to hiding. College became my sanctuary. I chose a school far enough from home that I could start fresh, but close enough to visit if I wanted. It was there that I introduced myself as Chloe for the first time. "Hi, I'm Chloe," I said, extending a hand to my new roommate during move-in day. "Nice to meet you," she replied, shaking my hand without hesitation. No questions, no raised eyebrows, no judgment. Just acceptance. The campus LGBTQ+ center became my second home. I met people who shared their own stories of self-discovery, people who had walked similar paths, and understood the challenges I faced. For the first time, I felt like I belonged. Life wasn't perfect, of course. There were setbacks, moments of doubt, encounters with ignorance, and days when the weight of it all felt overwhelming. But there were also triumphs. The first time I passed completely as Chloe in public. The first time I wore a bikini to the beach. The first time someone told me I was beautiful, and I believed them. Each milestone, no matter how small, felt like a victory. My relationship with my parents remained complicated. My mom eventually started using my name and pronouns, though it took time and effort on both our parts. My dad, well, he wasn't there yet, but I held on to hope. One day, while visiting home during winter break, he handed me a small, wrapped package. "What's this?" I asked, surprised. "Just open it," he said, avoiding my gaze. Inside was a delicate silver necklace, simple but beautiful. "I figured you might like it," he muttered, his voice gruff. I didn't know what to say. It wasn't an apology, but it was something. A step forward. "Thank you," I said, my voice thick with emotion. As the years went by, I grew more comfortable in my own skin. Crossdressing had been the door that opened my journey, but it was so much more than that. It was the beginning of understanding myself, of peeling back the layers of shame and fear to uncover the girl I had always been. Today, when I look in the mirror, I see her. The smile is still there, but it's no longer fleeting. It's a reflection of the life I've built, a life filled with love, acceptance, and authenticity. The journey isn't over. It never really is. But I'm not afraid anymore. I found my place in the world, and for the first time, it feels like home. I am Chloe, the girl I always was. By the time I was 14, I had learned to keep my secret well hidden. I wasn't sure what it meant, or if it meant anything at all. Was I just weird? A freak? I wasn't like the boys at school, that much was clear. They seemed to relish their roughhousing, their sports, their stupid jokes about girls. I laughed along, but I never felt like one of them. I wasn't like the girls either, though I wanted to be. I watched them with a mix of admiration and envy, how effortlessly they braided their hair, painted their nails, and carried themselves with a grace I could only dream of. I wasn't brave enough to join them, but in my heart, I already knew. It wasn't just about the clothes. It was a Saturday afternoon when I first discovered the world of crossdressing online. I had the house to myself, my parents were out running errands, and I was clicking aimlessly through the internet when I stumbled upon a forum. The people there were like me. They posted pictures, shared tips on makeup and clothing, and talked about their experiences. Some saw it as a hobby, a form of self-expression. Others described it as something deeper, more intrinsic. For the first time, I felt seen. That day, I dug through the back of my mom's closet, trembling with excitement and fear. I found a simple black skirt and a blouse she hadn't worn in years. My hands shook as I pulled them on, but the moment I looked in the mirror, the same smile from my childhood returned. It wasn't perfect, far from it. The blouse was too big, the skirt hung awkwardly on my hips, and my face, free of any makeup, didn't match the picture in my head. But I didn't care. For the first time in years, I felt right. High school was a minefield. Every day felt like walking a tightrope, balancing the person I pretended to be with the person I was becoming. At night, behind a locked door, I experimented, learning how to apply eyeliner without stabbing myself in the eye, how to walk in heels without twisting an ankle, and how to style my hair in ways that made me feel beautiful. But by day, I played my role. I was the quiet, unremarkable boy who blended into the background. Then came Sarah. Sarah was in my chemistry class, and she had a smile that could light up the darkest corners of my mind. She was funny, kind, and unapologetically herself in a way that I envied. We became friends quickly, bonding over a shared love of bad sci-fi movies and late-night Taco Bell runs. One night, as we sat in her room eating nachos, she said something that caught me off guard. "Can I tell you a secret?" she asked, her voice soft. "Sure," I said, trying to sound casual. "I'm bi." I blinked, unsure how to respond. She laughed at my expression, tossing a pillow at me. "It's not a big deal," she said. I don't know, I felt like I could tell you." Her words hung in the air, heavy with unspoken trust. I wanted to tell her my secret too, but fear held me back. It wasn't until senior year that everything changed. Prom was coming up, and the whole school was buzzing with excitement. I had no intention of going. What was the point? But Sarah had other plans. "You're coming," she declared, grabbing my arm in the cafeteria. "And I won't take no for an answer." "I don't even have a date," I protested. "Neither do I," she said, grinning. "We'll go together. As friends. It'll be fun, I promise." That night, as I lay in bed, a wild, impossible thought took root in my mind. What if I went as her? The idea terrified me, but it also thrilled me. I imagined walking into the gymnasium in a beautiful dress, my hair styled, my makeup flawless. For once, I wouldn't have to hide. It took weeks of planning and a lot of trial and error, but by the night of prom, I was ready. I had found a dress online, a flowing, pale blue gown that made me feel like Cinderella. Sarah, who still didn't know my secret, helped me with my makeup and hair, thinking I was just helping out a friend. "You're a natural," she said, smiling as she applied the finishing touches. "You could totally be a girl. If only you knew," I thought. When I finally revealed the truth to her, dressed as my true self, her reaction was everything I had hoped for and more. "I knew it," she said, pulling me into a hug. "You're beautiful inside and out." We went to prom together, and for the first time in my life, I felt free. That night marked the beginning of a new chapter. The journey wasn't easy. Coming out to my family was a battle, and not everyone accepted me. But I found a community that did, people who saw me for who I truly was and celebrated it. Crossdressing was more than a hobby. It was a stepping stone to discovering my identity. I wasn't just dressing up. I was stepping into the life I had always wanted, the life I was meant to live. And for the first time, I didn't feel like I was pretending. I felt like me, the girl I always was. Thank you so much for watching till now. It means the world to have you here. This community is all about empowering each other and celebrating the incredible journeys of everyone on their path to living authentically. If you're ever feeling lost or alone, remember you have a whole family here for you. Hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, and let's keep inspiring each other, sending you all the love and strength in the world. Until next time, live your life by your rules.